Well, good morning, everyone. Hello, how are you guys doing? How's everyone at home to high school? Okay, good. Okay, welcome back. Welcome back is right. So, good morning, everyone. I'm Terrence Wall. I want to welcome you to the ChamberCast, Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank everyone for being here. We're going to be jumping right into it, introducing our fantastic guests. I'm Terrence Wall, the co-founder and host. I want to welcome you to beautiful Bellworks. Always have a shout out for Ralph Zucker and his team and Inspired Somerset Development, doing so many fantastic things. So I want a huge thank you to Mr. Zucker, and also to Ming. Ming runs Shared Universe Podcast and does so many other things. Podcast studio right here, right on the block. So thank you so much for how you ensure a professional environment for what we're doing here today. Just a note for the folks, we are streaming live on YouTube and Facebook. Feel free to share. Feel free to take photos and send it out. You're going to be receiving exceptionally valuable information today. September is Peripheral Artery Disease Awareness Month, and it ties to so much more. So you're going to be hearing about nutrition, exercise, fitness, your cardiac health, and related health. And we're going to be tying it specifically to peripheral artery disease, and also the importance of how you're living, not just in the event you have a chronic issue, but prior to avoid those chronic issues, so you have a wonderful life, a healthy life of any generation. Right, ladies? Of any generation for all of us. So today I share what we're going to be talking about. It's a very serious disease. It can lead to strokes and heart attacks. We have wonderful guests that are going to be speaking about it. And I want to introduce our lineup. First of all, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate seeing all of you. Yeah, hello. Did you get mics wrong? We have Dr. Peter Farrugia. He's an interventional cardiologist. Thank you so much for being here. Vascular specialist with Advanced Heart and Vascular. Dr. Pete will be sharing vital information about what's happening in the body with PAD and how we can prevent and treat it, and other related cardiac issues. Mike Duffy, fitness trainer. I'm sure a lot of folks, I think Gary had referenced, he'd go back a ways, and so a key to your longevity is staying fit. Brings 30 years of exercise instruction experience to the talk. He's going to share physical fitness routines, holistic advice. We were chatting a little bit yesterday about intermittent fasting, autophagy, and things of that nature. So different generational advice of news that you can use and benefit from. Barbara Barron is here, registered dietitian. Thank you so much for being here. Nutritionist with special training in weight management for adults and children, cardiovascular health, bone health, plus food and nutrition communication strategies. She's going to share her wealth of knowledge, including her MVP program. One of the issues today, you hear a lot about GLP-1 drugs, Wegovy, and these things. And now they're talking about it coming out in a pill form in the first quarter of 2026. The pros and cons, we may talk about that a little bit, and what impact it's having. Whether it's making folks healthier or it's creating muscle loss, right? And what are some of the strategies from the medical community and how to best manage those types of challenges. Also, Elizabeth Holzers, hello. Thank you so much for being here. A registered dietitian. Elizabeth is dedicated to helping individuals improve their health through evidence-based nutrition, expertise in weight management, diabetes management, heart disease, personalized dietary programs, and you also provide personalized nutrition guidance as well to support sustainable lifestyle changes. Can we have a round of applause for our guest, please? So before we jump into the topic, we do like to go around the room real quick so you can share who you are and get to know each other better. Thank you very much, Jeannie.
Hi, good morning, everyone. So much like our speakers, I help people with healthy futures. So I have the pleasure of working with businesses, individuals, and families to develop creative financial plans. And I feel once you have a solid financial plan for your future, that allows you to pursue all the other things in life that you really love. So if you want to get a healthier financial plan, give me a call. I'm Saran Jennings, New York Life. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good morning, Gary Gelman, Gelman Images, full service photography, video production, drone services, providing this for 36 years in Monmouth County, but 34 years ago, a young man by the name of Mike Duffy gave me a great opportunity to make a commercial for the gym he was working at. I still have that footage, Mike, but thank you for everyone, and guys and ladies, thank you for being here today.
Hi everyone, my name is Kim Keating and I am the very new founder of the 50 Factor, and we're a women's organization, an organization for women in their mid 50s, well I should say midlife, 40s, 50s and 60s, who are ready to come back to work, ready to pursue a passion, step out of retirement and help them get where they need to be and want to go.
Welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Gail Bonus. I'm the administrative specialist with the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, this great chamber, and thank Jeannie and Terrence for this wonderful panel that we have today. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome. My name is Therese Rolke. I'm the executive director of this awesome chamber. And yes, Jeannie and Terrence make a great team, power couple. And we couldn't do this without them, so thank you for doing this every month. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Our pleasure. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tara Demyanovich. I'm the Director of Community Relations over at Community Affairs and Resource Center, a nonprofit with 4 locations in Monmouth and Ocean County. And we're here to provide free services, including lead remediation and domestic violence, to name a few. Tara Demyanovich.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Emily Almani, and I work for Atria Consultant. I do operations and staffing management there, and this is my first event, so I'm really excited to be here.
Hello, my name is Paul Thurston, and I'm with Team Marketing, and it's our goal to develop, deliver, maintain, and manage exceptional customer experiences. Again, my name is Paul Thurston from Team Marketing.
Thanks, Paul.
Good morning. I'm Drew. This is Anthony. Our other coworker Eric just ran to the bathroom, but we work for Mazda Recycling in Tin Falls. Trash and recycling services. Also have roll-off, mulch, and scrap metal division. So if anyone ever needs, trash and recycling needs, you guys know where to go.
Good morning, Chong-Yin Liu. I'm the Homedale resident. I'm the president for Shore Music Educator Association. I'm also the chairperson for Homedale Heritage Committee. We are preparing a wonderful event for Homedale Heritage Day, which will take place at Homedale High School on Sunday, October 26th. Please come join us. Have a great and fun Sunday afternoon. Everything is free. And we have a great restaurant. This year, we have 24 restaurants provide a free food samplers for us, including Patricia's Over Easy Kitchen, Gabriela's, DeMarco's, Medicine, Modern Social, and many local restaurants. And so please come join us. And also we have 14 countries join this event. It's growing. Last year we have 600 attendance. So far, we still have 4 weeks to go. We already almost 600 tickets are reserved. So we're gonna expect this big event and a lot of fun. Please join us October 26th. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A little fun fact, Chung-In and I served on the Homedale Township Board of Education together as a certified school board member as well. So thanks for your community service. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
And the cultural diversity in Homedale is what really makes it such a great place to be. So thank you so much.
Good morning, Ann Mohammadi, board member for Lunch Break and the Monmouth Park Charity Fund.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Frank Alberto, and together with my wife, Aaliyah, we own Noka, a women's retail luxury store down in Manasquan. I'm also launching my own fractional CFO business after about 15 years of Wall Street and Amazon tech finance. This is my first event, and really happy to be here.
That's great. Welcome.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Aloisi. I'm a local resident of Homedale. I'm your independent insurance broker. What that means to you is I shop around to find the best rates for health insurance, life insurance, and annuities. And the insurance companies work for me. So I find the best rates from them and work with all different brokers. Aloisi.
And he's a tennis pro, and he was playing the grand piano on your way in.
He's our Renaissance man.
He's our Renaissance man.
Thanks, Al.
Good morning, everybody. I'll just hold it. Good morning, everybody. James Davis, General Manager of FC Monmouth County's men's and women's semi-professional soccer team representing the county across the country. We also have some upcoming events. We're playing in the fall with our men's team for the first time ever. So October 11th, we have a big home match at Count Basie Park in Red Bank. And then October 25th is our new Jam the Basie event, which we launched with the Red Bank Health and Wellness Committee. That we're looking to, we're hosting a pre-match clinic prior to our game, free for the community, as well as we're looking to set a new attendance record of over 750 fans at our game. So it should be a fun night out.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Good morning. My name is Elliot Cohen. I am a high school business teacher here in Homedale High School, as well as the internship coordinator.
And you have done an amazing job. So how many internships so far since you started coming here to ChamberCast? And
Well, got to thank the Wall family for introducing us to so many different businesses through the years. I think we've been coming here about 4 or 5 years now, and we're looking at over 100 interns. This year alone, we're record-setting 22 or 24 interns per semester all throughout Monmouth County, a half a dozen just here alone in Bell Works. So really appreciate the Wall
It's
family.
awesome, yeah. So you're hearing over 100 interns, and that's just to the impact. It's because of the guests that are here. It's because of the topics that are being discussed, the businesses that are connecting here, the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce, the members who are participating here. It's really an ecosystem, over 100 internships. That's so impressive. And we have Homedale's next generation right here. Introduce yourselves.
that's right, and all 3 of them are going to be interning in Bell Works right here.
That's
so.
great. That's great.
Good morning. My name is Isabella Buffa. I'm a senior at Homedale High School, and I'm happy to be here and meet new people.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm Brooke Dawson. I'm also a senior at Homedale High School, and I'm excited to meet new people.
That's great. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm senior in high school, and thanks for having me here.
Oh, thank you for being here. I'm Jeannie Wall. I'm the owner of Jeannie Wall Media, and I'm publishing for Tap Into in Monmouth County.
Great, thanks. And when I'm not volunteering as your humble host, I'm a VP with Marsh McLennan Agency, Risk Management, Retirement Planning, Private Client Services, right over in Red Bank. So welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Just a quick pop quiz. Raise your hand if you eat food. Oh, that's great. I wasn't sure how many people are going to answer that. We got a lot of compliance there,
It's a
Doctor.
tough question.
It's a tough question. And and how many people have a relationship?
It could be any kind of relationship.
With food.
Oh, with food. That's a different discussion.
Yes, and so I'm going to jump off with a comment that Dr. Farrugia said during a prior podcast, and it stayed with me. And the comment was very simple, really, and deep at the same time, and it ties to what we're talking about: health, longevity, physical fitness, and the importance of health and peripheral artery disease, which we're going to be talking about. And the comment was, I'm going to kick it off with Dr. Farrugia, was we need to change our relationship with food. So now you know where I was going with that whole process. So no, keep your relationships. We're talking about food, the relationships with food, and how it ties into health, wellness, physical fitness, and things of that nature. Doctor, can you kick it off with that, and let's get into PAD and start our conversation here.
Giddy up. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here. As was stated, my name is Dr. Peter Farrugia. I am very proud to represent my team at Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey, located in Colts Neck and as well as in New Brunswick. I have a very simple approach to health. As much as I'm a Western-trained physician, so I understand the ins and outs of metabolic processes and medications, I strongly stand by the fact that the basics for long-term health are nutrition, aka your relationship with food, and that can be very complicated, but can also be very straightforward, and exercise. And I think that if we push more of that, there would be a much different view on healthcare and how our individual selves are getting into older ages and the health that we approach retirement and beyond. So I think nutrition is a great place to start, because if you are eating all the wrong things and at the wrong times, then you're going to start to develop a variety of metabolic issues which lead to chronic health issues like hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes. And once those start, you wind up going into an exponential growth curve where now you're at risk for heart disease, for peripheral arterial disease. So it starts with the basics. It starts with, are you eating the right things, right? And that's why we have 2 nutritionists here. And then, how are you taking care of your body, right? Most people don't know what real exercise is, and I'm sure that's one of the main challenges that Mr. Duffy faces with bringing new people in, is they have this idea, or they're afraid of exercise. They're afraid of walking into a gym, which is in and of itself a struggle.
No, you're going to say? Go ahead. Go ahead, Barbara.
I agree with you. Relationship with food is critical, and I have to add that having meals around the table, that's where it begins, at home. You know, when you're young, and it's the relationship that the parents have with food gets transferred to the kids, and to make it fun and not a chore. And sometimes we get agita at the table with family and friends, but we want to make it most explore an experience that it's enjoyable. And food and preparation of food is one of the things that I work with busy moms who are stressed out, can't figure out how to put a healthy meal on the table. It can be simplified. And it's just changing your mindset a little bit, and small changes at a time.
I love that. The small changes, I think, just in this society, we always think big, big, big. What's the next big thing we could do? It's not about the big. It's about the little. It's the little steps. You know, babies start walking with little steps. So if we can find 1 or 2 simple, small things that we could do to make changes when it comes to food, we're going to see that long-term payoff.
And that's why whenever I'm referring patients to go see a nutritionist, I tell them all the same thing, okay? Write down everything you put in your mouth over the course of a week. Liquids and solids, how much, how often, and what time. Once you do that, as long as you're honest, it's very simple from a 10,000-foot view to say, this is when you're hungry, this is when you're tired, this is when you're bored. And then start making the small, subtle changes within your approach to nutrition to improve things. And it's small changes that lead up to big improvements over time.
And there's a big difference between coming back to Barbara's table or Elizabeth's table, or coming back to the doctor's table, right? And what I'm bringing that up because, meaning the operating table, there are habits, and perhaps we could talk about patterns and habits, whether it's in the physical fitness arena, the diet and nutrition arena, or when folks are literally on the operating table, and they leave that table, and I think you were alluding to that their habits don't change. They're still doing the same thing. Can you folks speak to that?
So I always say, number 1 rule is, diet is a 4-letter word for a reason, right? We've got lots of 4-letter words, and they're all dirty. So I never talk to anyone about a diet. I talk to people about their understanding of nutrition. And the problem is, even though we used to have health classes in high school, we have three seniors in high school here, nutrition used to be a part of what we were learning when we were in home economics class growing up. I don't even know if that's still a thing or not. And that's a huge issue, because if you don't have a very well-rounded understanding of what nutrition actually looks like, then you don't know what you're doing. And going to see a nutritionist, again, we've got 2 fine examples of excellent nutritionists, is not a one-time visit. You're going for personal education to improve your understanding of what healthy eating and lifestyle actually looks like.
But are folks coming when it's a chronic issue, or are folks coming as part of a holistic wellness program? What are you seeing out there?
It's hard. So I think we value certain things in life, right? So a lot of times we don't value healthy nutrition until we're in that place of chronic unhealthiness. And luckily, a lot of insurances are kind of changing their tune a little bit to wellness, right? So they are encouraging their clients, their members to seek healthy behaviors previous to disease states, but a lot of times we're seeing people at the panic mode, right? We're seeing them after they see you and they've been diagnosed with X, Y, and Z. And now we're at the place of like, well, what can we do to fix the damage we've already created? And it's also, change is hard. And people don't want to change, so.
And I think people come on and off diets. That's why I agree. Diet is a 4-letter word. It's really eating pattern. We've all heard about the Mediterranean lifestyle, and I don't even call it Mediterranean diet, but it's a lifestyle which incorporates more fish and fruits and vegetables, which are not getting enough of, we all know. But what I say is just have one more serving, even if it's one more serving a day, if not a meal. Small changes. And we can all read about nutrition. However, sometimes you need the support of a health professional, like a registered dietitian or a nutritionist, and to help walk you through some of those small changes. And not make it a chore, but make it more enjoyable. If you're not, if you don't like kale, I'm not going to force you to eat kale. There are so many other leafy greens out there.
Yeah, now let's talk about the relationship with physical fitness. So if you can't bulletproof your body or otherwise protect it unless you're working it, right? So speak to that.
Yeah, exercise is very important. I find that, from training people over 40 years, that it's really easy to get them to come and work out 2 days a week, 3 days a week. No problem, they can set the time aside. But the hardest part is getting them to follow a good nutrition plan. And I tell my clients, listen, you're not going to make the changes you want to make unless you fix what you're putting in your mouth. That's more important than diet and exercise. Than exercise. I shouldn't be saying that as a personal trainer, but I can tell you when I get my clients to follow a good nutrition plan, the results are amazing. And they could be coming in for some problem that's developed. They might have seen Dr. Pete. But the good news is that no matter how bad that problem is, it can be fixed. You can overturn it with proper nutrition. And I'm sure you've both seen that. Change your diet, change your life.
What are some of the common issues you're seeing folks come in from a cardiovascular level and then specific to PAD? And what are some of the exercises that folks can engage with under the watch of their own provider?
We get all types. We have people who've had strokes and heart attacks and a lot of high blood pressure, a lot of high cholesterol, type 2 diabetics, type 1 diabetics, and we see a lot of that. Most of the clients that I'm working with are 50 and over, and I think it's rampant. Everybody comes in and has an issue, but again, it could be easily fixed. We've seen changes in as short as 6 weeks. People dropping cholesterol numbers over 100 points, 6 weeks, and not just from changing their diet. 99% of it is diet.
And the biggest improvements in all of these disease states always come from nutrition and exercise. And I preach both of that. If anyone's ever seen me, and I'm not looking at anybody in the audience right now, but my patients get a healthy dose of that. And the problem we face in medicine, I'm very honest, is the equity of time, right? Your physicians no longer have the same time they had 30 years ago to spend with you, to educate you on different things. And it's much easier to rubber stamp someone's lifestyle and say, okay, well, your blood pressure's up, you gained 10 pounds, your cholesterol is this high, I have to start you on this med for this and this med for that, and then they're on to the next room. Now, you could say this is a fault of the doctors. It's the system working against us. That being said, this is why we went into a very small home at Advanced Heart. We're more focused on making sure people understand what's going on inside their bodies and the potential changes that they can make. One of the biggest issues that I face, and again, Mike, I actually think you have a very unique perspective because you're getting people who are walking through that door. The biggest struggle I have is getting somebody to be willing to walk through that door.
It's tough. It's intimidating.
No doubt about it.
If you haven't worked out before, it's very intimidating to walk into a gym where everybody's in shape and they all know what they're doing. They know how to use the equipment.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
And
yeah,
this is what I sell people on, and this is very amusing. There's a disparate understanding between men and women about exercise. Right now, I fall in line with everything that Mike does, and that's what I do personally. I'm a weightlifter. I do aerobic exercise, but I tend to do anaerobic exercise at an aerobic activity level. right? Because that's what I enjoy. That being said, when you talk to people about exercise, there are so many traps, right? Number one thing I always hear, oh, I walk. That's great. What do you mean you walk? Well, I get in 5,000, 10,000 steps a day. That's great. Is any of it in a row? Right? Yeah. And then, oh yeah, I walk the dog. Okay, time out. I love dogs. I have a dog myself. I know what walking a dog is. There's way too much starting and stopping for that to be real exercise.
Yeah.
Right?
Or golf.
Or golf, even worse. So then we get into a discussion of what exercise walking actually is, right? And you can see it here. I've actually done the walk around in Bellworks, and it's 3 football fields long from one end to the other. So this was designed with your health in mind, right? I'll be walking when my kids are in karate here and moving at my pace, but then you'll see a group of people who are talking while they're walking, and they believe that they're exercising, and they're not. Because if you can talk while you are walking and have a regular conversation, you're strolling. That is not exercise level walking, right? And certainly I hope you'll agree with me on this. The problem with walking is the body accommodates, meaning that the body gets used to whatever pace you think is putting a significant exercise stress on your body, so that in a month from now, that's no longer enough.
Your body definitely acclimates to that. So you have to pick up the speed, maybe do a little jogging, then walking.
Do different
things.
things.
You have to challenge yourself, and you have to have your heart rate up to a certain minimum amount.
Just like you challenge yourself with test taking, or if you're learning a new skill, you have to bump up to the next level. Now, walking is great because it's the first step if someone's not moving.
Right.
And then it's working with you, which really the beauty of showing the benefits of weightlifting. And you don't have to talk, I'm sure I'll let you speak about how much weights, but you don't have to start out with heavy weights. And some people think they're have to be the muscle man.
Yeah, no, not at all. I expect, the people we're seeing in our clubs, they're older, and heavy weights are the last thing they should be doing. It's the worst thing for the joints and the worst thing for the pressure.
And let me
injury.
say, Mike is a tremendous specimen. There's no doubt about it, right? But going to a gym for a month is not going to cause you to look like this right away. Yeah. It's not how it works. And it's kind of amusing because when you talk about exercise and talk about going to a gym, I've learned a lot. That's why they call it the practice of medicine, right? And during my practice and my own education, I've learned the difference in understanding and fear that using the phrase weight training brings with it. Right? I've had to change the words that I use when I talk to the majority of my female patients. If I say weight training, I've lost 95% of them. Right? I have to say resistance training. If you say weight training, they think I want them to look like him. I mean, I want everybody to look like him, but that's a different discussion. Right? It's understanding that they're afraid of walking into that gym and not knowing what to do. On the flip side, and this is thoroughly amusing, you know what the universal sign from a man for I go to the gym is? I go to the gym, right? And I tell this to all of my male patients. I don't care about the size of your arms. This is not high school, right? I don't care about your glory muscles, your biceps, your triceps, and your chest. I care about the strength of the biggest muscle groups in your body. Your legs, your butt, your back, and your core, right? There are 3 things that you need to live a long, healthy life. Everybody always gets the first 2. You need a healthy heart, you need a healthy pair of lungs. What's number 3? You need strong thighs. Why? Thighs? What's up with that? The minute you can't stand up from this seat, walk outside, get into your car and drive somewhere, or go up a flight of stairs, the quality of your life takes a nosedive. And once that happens, you've just expedited your own demise.
I love that you spoke about fear, because I think we see a lot of patients at that place of fear because they have come from a doctor who put them in a place. A lot of times they don't come to us because this is what they want to do. They come to us because they are so scared, and change is scary, new food is scary, they've been doing it their whole lives, exercise is scary, and we're seeing that patient at that place of fear and oh my God, this is the end. And I think for us, it's a lot of talking off a ledge, right? Right? Going back to those small changes. And a lot of times they are at just the place of walking back and forth here. That's their level.
It's got to start somewhere, right?
Got to start
Yeah,
somewhere.
and so we're talking about the journey and the important things to wellness and health. Let's focus now on the journey that also has causes and effects to a lack of sound health, and specifically to PAD. Can you describe PAD and how it manifests, and how that ties together to the opposite of the journey to health? Maybe genetics and other items, but the other piece, nutrition, the exercise, and things of that nature, motion. Can you speak to that and talk about some of the treatments? And September is where we want to up the awareness on this.
PAD Awareness Month. What is PAD? You can look at it, it says PAD. Why am I talking about a PAD right now? I'm not. So Peripheral Arterial Disease, PAD. It affects over 10 million Americans a year and can go from anywhere from being asymptomatic all the way to losing toes, losing feet, having a stroke, okay? We're specifically talking about disease of the arteries outside of your heart, okay? Because if it was disease of the arteries in your heart, we're talking about coronary disease, or CAD, right? So what we are looking at is patients who are at risk for PAD, which are your diabetics, your smokers, your patients with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and chronic kidney disease, okay? Now, people will forget that they smoked for 20 years. Well, I quit 20 years ago. I get it. The problem is that the long history of smoking puts you at a very high risk for developing disease of the arteries all over your body. And we have to deal with that. That's why I'm very upfront in getting to patients who are young, because if you can start to have them adjust their medical risk at a younger age, you can control things and prevent it from getting to a point where they actually need to be on my table, right? I'm a terrible interventional cardiologist in that I don't want you on my table. I want to do everything I can to prevent you from needing to go there. My biggest issue is I don't get to people until it's well too late, because they've gone through the last 30 years of their life not taking care of themselves, whether it be dietary, nutritional based, because again, type 2 diabetes, the majority of the time, is all based on a lack of appropriate nutrition and a lack of exercise. Blood pressure and cholesterol, the biggest impact you can make on those two medical issues are through nutrition and exercise. Smoking, just put it down, right? We're at a point where there are 10,000 ways to get nicotine into your body. They're all bad for you. And replacing one with another is just a crutch that you're going to lean on and never actually get off the nicotine. Why am I so hard on nicotine? Well, the issues are plain and simple. I'm not a lung doctor. I'm not an oncologist, meaning I don't know anything or really care about lung cancer except I don't want it. And I don't know anything about oropharyngeal cancer except I like to eat my own food. What I do know is the moment nicotine hits your bloodstream, in an instant, you are doubling your risk of having a cardiovascular event. And if it doesn't happen then, it's hastening disease of the arteries all over your body prematurely for the rest of your life. It's why we're so aggressive about stopping people from smoking. But that's only part of the issue. It becomes a matter of early diagnosis, right? And once you know you have something, then you need to change your life.
What are the symptoms of PAD? What's happening in the body where you're like, I think there's something wrong with me? What?
Excellent question. So it starts off, the majority of people will start complaining about cramping in their calves, in their thighs, in their buttock region. Okay, so we refer to that, and that cramping comes usually with walking. And the medical term we use is claudication. So we're trying to assess if people are developing pain when they're walking certain distances, right? And the big issue with that is people will attribute that to old age. I'm just getting older, right? And then they're not seeking medical advice. They're not getting themselves evaluated, right? And then you mix in the diabetics, which have all sorts of issues, and they'll start attributing things to their neuropathy. So all of a sudden I'm getting numbness and tingling in my toes and my feet. There's a high probability of it being a mixed issue between the diabetic neuropathy and a decrease in arterial flow. But guess what? There's a simple way to evaluate and to track these things. It starts off with, do you got a pulse? Right? Who's checking pulses? Here's the issue. Our modern healthcare system has decreased the amount of time physicians have with their patients. The number of times that I see patients who are referred to me who already have a cardiologist because those doctors aren't checking pulses. And it's simple. I'm a very simple guy. I have a very expensive piece of paper that everybody who's cardiology has, but they don't say board certified in cardiology. It says board certified in cardiovascular disease. I have no idea why the preponderance of cardiologists drop the vascular end of it, but it's important. Checking pulses is a basic for doing a full cardiovascular evaluation, right? So who becomes the front line? That for me, from my standpoint, it's podiatrists, it's physical therapists, right? And then my team. And there are simple things you can do for evaluation. Even at the bedside, you can check something called an ABI. What is that? An ankle brachial index. So we are measuring pressures at your ankle and comparing it to the blood pressure in your arm. And there's a ratio, and there's accepted values of normal, and then there's when it starts decreasing, and then we have to start looking, right? And that's a very non-invasive test. And after that, you start looking at ultrasounds, right? And then after that, there are other things that we can do from whether it be imaging via CAT scans or MRIs, or invasive strategies for patients who are very symptomatic, right?
To treat it, you talk about treating?
From a treatment standpoint, absolutely. But I think earlier diagnosis is the key, because if we can find these things earlier and convince people, and that's the second and more important part, convince people that they need to change. Right? There's something very tragic about the human condition, that we need something bad to happen for us to elicit change. Right? I always say this, the most proud day that I've ever had as an American was September the 12th, 2001. Right? Because in that day, after horrible tragedy, we all stood up and we decided to start making changes together. Why does it take tragedy for that to happen? And that's on a national scale, but on an individual scale, why does it take someone having to be naked on my table at 3 o'clock in the morning dying for them to be really interested in changing their lifestyle? And what's even scary about that is I can tell you objectively from the data that I've collected over the last 20 years of practice, 90% of those people who are dying at 3 in the morning within a year are back to doing what got them on my table to begin with. Because lifestyle is really important. That's why I don't use the word diet, because everything has to change.
And there's such a tremendous amount of psychology involved here as well, you know, too. So, Mike, folks come in, my cardiologist said, you know, I got to move. I got to do, you know, they're probably translating it incorrectly. If someone comes in with PAD in various degrees, where do you start in assessing what they should do, or what are some of the exercises that they can do, or just folks that are hearing this and didn't see their cardiologist, but they're thinking that may be me. So what are some of the exercises folks should do for their peripheral artery system, right?
Yeah, well, basically there's two types of exercise you need to do. The first is cardiovascular exercise, and Pete had mentioned that before. You got to get the legs moving. So whether it's walking or jogging or running, bicycle, swimming, anything where your legs are consistently moving for 20 minutes or more. And you want to do that 3 to 5 times a week. The American Heart Association says 30 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week, and that will help your whole circulatory system in your heart and hopefully help prevent PAD. That's the first thing. Second thing is you have to lift some weights. And again, they don't have to be heavy. They have to be lighter weights, rhythmic in fashion, because you want that pumping movement going throughout your body, circulating the blood. So a lot of lower body work, because as Pete said before, the biggest muscles in your body are your legs. So again, you want to do some type of leg exercises such as squats or lunges, and combine that with some upper body compound movements where it's more than just one muscle moving the weight, and Pete said before, everybody's used to this, but that's going to do very little for the total circulation of blood in your body.
And for folks to be able to maximize the exercising, you need to be properly fed, right? And there's diet, you said it's a 4-letter word, but it's keto, high protein, low protein, plant-based, what have you. For a lot of folks, they don't know where to start, and so I guess part of the challenge is they just don't start at all, right? It's too much.
It's very confusing. There's so much misinformation out there about all the different diets out there. I'm sure you guys hear about it.
Can we maybe talk about a framework, even sort of a macro level framework, just to guide folks, so if they're watching or listening or they're in this room, they leave with something that says, you know what, I could work with that framework and then build from there. What might that be? Elizabeth or Barbara or Mike?
Well, I
or
try
Doctor?
and keep it simple when I meet someone, and this is my MVP approach, and I really start with moderation. Now, moderation is for you, right-sized portions, limiting saturated fats, limiting excess sodium, not avoid. It's not moderation, not deprivation. Then I talk about variety, and there's a lot of financial planners here. We diversify our financial portfolio. Let's diversify your plate. Look at the colors on the plate, the texture, expand your taste buds. You know, introduce a new food that's high in antioxidants. Antioxidants are the arterial armor for the heart and the vascular system. And then plan. You need a good game plan. And that game plan is like working with us dietitians who can work those foods into your diet, into your eating pattern and lifestyle, because it's about, I always say, you know, how about introducing, do you have a PT or a personal trainer or someone? I'm not the exercise physiologist, but I know moving is important. It's trying some ways to incorporate that into their, so MVP, keep it simple, it's easy to remember, and yes, there's lots of in between, more fiber, more fruits and vegetables.
Yeah, I mean, if I could say anything about like nutrition for preventing PAD and longevity in general, the two biggest things is eat less. The less food you put in your body, the less damage you're going to give it long term. So less food, the better. And also including some type of fasting. We were talking about that before, Terrence.
Yeah, intermittent fasting, right?
Yeah, intermittent fasting, 24-hour, 72, whatever they are. Again, the less food you eat, the less damage you can do to your body over time.
And can you speak to autophagy a little bit? I think that it's something that's, it's the body really.
Autophagy is amazing. I mean, autophagy is it's a state that your body gets into after about 16 or 17 hours of fasting. Basically, autophagy is a couple things. Number one, we all have senescent cells in your body, and these are cells that are really old and damaged. They suck up energy, and some people think they lead to disease. Well, these cells are completely taken out of your body, metabolized, and they're gone. So you get rid of these old lazy cells and kind of reboot your system. The proteins from those cells are turned into new cells. So your body actually starts building brand new cells. You can't take a drug or a medication or anything to build new cells in your body. But autophagy fasting, you're building new cells. You're rebooting your system, you're becoming younger. So
was the word autophagy from Latin like self-eating? Or it's like
that's exactly what it means. That's exactly the translation of autophagy, and it's just a matter of breaking down old. Again, we use the phrase senescent, so cells that are, for lack of a better term, hibernating, that aren't functioning the way that they should be, and then it promotes turnover because of the fasting. It's very interesting in terms of how it can impact things. To steer back to PAD for a moment, I think the things that are very important, and again, Mike said it perfectly, what the goals are. I want everybody at home to hear this. Nobody expects you to go out and do 30 minutes of exercise if you've been doing nothing, okay? I think it's very important, I tell people this, if you haven't gone to do any activity in a long time, when you first start, think about what you think you should be doing in your brain for day one, and then cut that in a corner, right? Because if you don't, I've done it to myself more times than I care to remember, where I've worked out for the first time in months because of whatever, and now I can't sit on a toilet without being in crying levels of pain, right? And I see the smiles because it's just the way it works.
I'm also gonna speak to back to that, right? So cutting our workout into a quarter. It's the same with nutrition, right? We come up with all these really beautiful, big ideas, but for most people, it's about just going to the grocery store and buying more fruits and vegetables. For most people, it's go to the fish market and pick out a new piece of fish. For most people, it's those basic pieces that we really need to be telling them. We can't tell them, there's these beautiful things out there, but for most of the clients that we're working with that do have these crazy new diagnoses that are very scary, if I say go to your local supermarket and go buy yourself some really beautiful berries, that's way more acceptable.
Be prepared. I'm sorry to step on you.
That's okay.
Right? Be prepared. I was a Boy Scout. It's the Boy Scout motto, right? What does that mean, though, in this realm? Well, I hear every excuse known to man. I've made them myself. I openly admit to it. If you're going to work and you know you're going to eat garbage at lunchtime because that's what's available, well, then be prepared. Make something for yourself. Bring it with you. I changed my entire nutritional pattern because I noticed after I came to Jersey and was in practice, all these wonderful lunches were showing up, and they're filled with nothing but garbage because that's what's cheap and easy to get to a doctor's office. So I started bringing my own food. And in doing that, I was prepared. I have truck drivers, I have people who are in office work, people on construction sites that, well, this is all that's available. Fine, then be prepared. Bring it from home. Put the work in, because nobody else is going to do that.
Plus, you know what's going in your food. You can control, right?
Yeah.
Instead of getting things where you don't know what they're putting in your food.
And for Barbara and Elizabeth as well, if you can talk about some of the nutrition guidance you would share with folks that come in to see you for assistance with, for example, PAD, and as an adjunct to that, can you talk about, there's a lot of literature now about the biome, the gut, and its impact, and anti-inflammatories, the inflammation rather, and these kinds of things. If you'd like to speak to that from a diet, nutrition standpoint.
I'd just like to jump in before we get there, is the mindset. It's being mindful about what's on your plate and what you're putting in your mouth, in your belly. And sometimes we mindlessly eat, and it's being, again, bringing that attention. There's a saying, and I hope I don't mess it up, Hari Bachibu, and that's eating till it's a Japanese saying, and it's eating till you're 80% full. Take a pause, slow down, enjoy the food, because it does take time for the stomach to connect with the brain and to know that you're full. Sometimes it's just putting that fork down, and then you realize, I'm really not that hungry. And it's not about limiting the food, but it's eating with a mindful attitude.
I even say it to my kids. I say, take a minute, take a second, take a minute. They ask for another snack. Take a minute. It's okay. Sometimes we just need a minute. But speaking a little bit about the heart health space, again, back to the basics, right? So we're going to talk about lean protein, right? So what do we think of when we think of lean protein? That chicken. We're thinking of really lean, nice cuts of steak. Steak should be eaten in much moderation, right? Just like your MVP. But if we're going to pick it, let's pick something that's nice and lean. The less marbling, the less fat. Fish, right? So our nice fatty fishes, our salmons, our mackerels, things like that are going to give us a really high level of omega-3s. Or omega-3s are good for our heart health. And fruits and vegetables, right? Back to the basics. I love fresh, but again, if it sits in the fridge and it goes bad, it's no good for anybody. Frozen is actually just as good as fresh. It's actually frozen at the peak of freshness. So a lot of times, especially when we're out of season, we can actually receive more nutrition from some frozen vegetables. And again, they're more cost effective. They're not going to go bad in the fridge in 3-4 days. There's something you can pull out in a pinch. They take about 5-6 minutes in the microwave to make. So accessibility.
And I think to carry on, one of the big things that people started doing, which drives me literally bananas, eat your fruit. Don't blend your fruit, please. If you're going to take a fruit and macerate it in a blender, you're destroying the nutritional value of that piece of fruit, right? What's great about fruit? So it's natural sugars bound to all that fiber. The minute you put that into a blender, you're detaching the sugars from the fiber. What does that mean? I don't understand. Well, the difference is this. You're either going to, if you blend it, you get this huge spike in glucose in your bloodstream, and then it comes crashing back down again. As opposed to if you eat the fruit, it's going to give you a nice, smooth glycemic release into your bloodstream over time, and it keeps you satiated for a longer period of time.
And to add to that, well, adding the whole fruit to a smoothie may work. However, how fast does it take to drink a smoothie versus eat an apple, eat a banana, eat some berries?
Yeah, no, Mike.
And it's, again, slowing down, enjoying every bite, and enjoying the taste.
Thanks. And then Mike mentioned something a little earlier before we started. We're talking about insulin. And want to talk about, I want to jump into that a little bit, and the nutrition piece of that, and the cardiology piece of that, and then we're gonna open up to questions, and then we're going to wrap up with the key items you want folks to leave with today. So we were just talking about longevity, and you'd shared your comment about insulin. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, now research shows that the more insulin that animals in the animal kingdom and humans produce throughout a lifetime, the shorter lifetime will be. It's one of the key things to longevity. So while a lot of people are concerned about cholesterol, and you should be more concerned from my standpoint and who I've been working with over the years with your A1C, your long-term insulin release, and your sugar levels. And the lower the A1C is, the longer you're going to live, and that's the number one indicator of longevity.
And that also speaks to the level of circulating inflammation you have in your bloodstream, right? Most people don't understand, especially diabetics, the higher your hemoglobin A1C, which is how we measure long-term blood sugar levels on average, the higher that is, the more inflammation that you're having. And what we know about disease of the arteries in the body is it's primarily an inflammatory process at the level of the arterial wall, right? So a lot of what we're doing from a nutritional and exercise standpoint, and then adding medication as appropriate, is in an effort to decrease your circulating levels of inflammation, right? People always ask, can I get rid of this? The answer is unfortunately no. But our goal is to stop it where it is and prevent it from getting worse. And how do we do that? Through nutrition, exercise, through lifestyle change, right? And again, people can't, I hear every excuse in the book. I understand. I've got orthopedic issues. If you can't walk because you've got a bad knee or a bad hip or a bad back, get in a pool. Doing the walking in a pool is actually a higher cardiovascular benefit than walking around in air because of increased resistance. And you can do that. YMCAs are open year-round everywhere. So again, cutting through the excuses so that people can make the changes. And again, this is slow and steady over time. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. So you pursue this your entire life.
Thank you for that, Mike. You can say something?
No, I was going to say, Pete, you had mentioned that once you have PAD, you can't reverse it. Have you ever heard anything about chelation therapy helping with that?
Chelation therapy specifically in atherosclerosis, no.
No research on that?
And what we're dealing with is very large vessels that wind up developing plaque and clot, and then if we don't catch things in time and people aren't putting in the work that they have to, that these vessels will close up. Now, the good thing is your body has a way to adapt, right? And part of what we do, aside from just trying to screen and treat, is get people to start moving, because walking therapy is the mainstay of treatment for PAD. Because what we're trying to do is force your body to start making new channels, small little collateral branches that will go around areas that are blocked so that we maintain flow to your toes, right? Because again, nobody wants to lose their toes. Nobody wants to lose their feet.
You know, we're hearing so much information, and a lot of folks, they're familiar. They've heard good nutrition. They've heard move. They've heard all of these things. Yet it hasn't connected, hasn't gotten to gear. Have you found different things before we open it up? Because I'm interested in your thoughts. from maybe perhaps feedback from a patient or feedback from a client, feedback from one of the folks that you're working from the fitness perspective. What was the hook? Like, was there something that flipped? Was it something? Was it a dire diagnosis? Was it an author? Like, because much of this information in some form is not new to folks. Yet it's stasis. They stay where they are, and they're back on the table, and they're back in the drive-through, and they don't renew something that's really critical for them to do for themselves or their family. I'm just curious, before we open up to questions, have you heard someone that gave you like the hook? They say, you know what, this is what flipped it for me. This is what did it for me. If you could share, if you have a story like that, like maybe that might resonate with some of the folks here or their friends and family or the folks in their businesses.
Well, from my experience, it's usually a personal crisis. You know, maybe they saw Pete, say you have PAD, and you got to take care of this now, or else you might not be with us in 5 years. So that's number one. Number two is a personal friend or relative passing away at a young age. Unfortunately, that happens, and that is a large driver of people that come to see us to improve their health. So it's usually a crisis or somebody very close passing.
I would say blood work. A lot of people will come with me with their blood work, and they'll say, there's a lot of red on here. This doesn't look good. And they'll come, and usually the flip is, I'll say, give this 3 months. And I know that's a big ask, but give this 3 months. Let's reevaluate. Let's do what I'm asking you to do, because 3 months seems much less scary than a lifetime. So I said, let's do what I'm asking you to do. I'm here. I give you my number. I give you my email address. I'm yours, right? I'm here to advocate for you. I'm here to be your cheerleader. 3 months goes by. We get new blood work, and we see that it worked, right? We see less red. We see those numbers come down, and they're like, okay, I could do this. But a lot of times you kind of need to see the change for it to click. I think that's the handhold. That's the help.
Barbara, how about you?
I agree. The numbers speak for themselves, and sometimes don't go to the doctor because they're fearful of those numbers. However, if they start there, then there's a point of prevention that they can take. And another piece is, people, we talked about more fruits and vegetables and things like that, but it's really just adding an apple to your lunch. It's adding spinach to maybe that scrambled eggs that you have in the morning. It's really simple changes that can have a greater effect over time, and it's not a quick fix.
You hear about any switch that just put that light on for folks?
The problem is that the switch is different for everyone, right? I hate to say this, but we're all little snowflakes. We're all completely different, right? And that's it, but it's true. And what might trigger me may not trigger her, may not trigger him, right? There's so much emotion that's built up into chronic medical conditions and nutrition and exercise. I have this crazy family history of diabetes. Right? I share this a lot. I was a morbidly obese teenager. I'm a Weight Watchers lifetime member twice over because I spent the time because of how afraid I was about becoming a diabetic at a young age, right? So people get blood work and all of a sudden they see that A1C is up and the doctor's saying you're pre-diabetic. That may be enough to trigger them, right? As Mike said, I have way too many friends who just had a massive heart attack, or my cousin's best friend just passed away from a massive heart attack, and I'm scared. So one of the things, the patients that I really enjoy are the people who are coming in late 30s, 40s, 50s, who are coming in not because they're having chest pain or shortness of breath, but coming in because they're concerned and they're focused on primary prevention. Right? Some people, it may be the initial identification of, you have heart disease. We just did this coronary calcium score, which is a different discussion, but that's coming in, and now we know you have heart disease. And that's enough, because it may not be blocking up the arteries where you need something done, but you have it. And knowing you have it changes everything, right? I know you talked about it before, kind of at the jump, so I want to throw it out there. Everybody's going crazy about these weight loss medications, right? Now, people ask me all the time, what do I think of them? I think they can be a very powerful tool as a part of your overall health plan, but they are not a health plan by itself, right? They can be exquisitely dangerous medications if not used the right way. I tell people this all the time. Listen, did the doctor who prescribed it for you, did they tell you how much protein you should be getting in a day? No, they just said, make sure that I drink enough water. Okay, that's great. We don't want you to develop kidney failure, but if you're not pushing 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight a day, then you're at risk of losing up to 30% of the weight that you lose being skeletal muscle. What does that mean? Well, I'm very concerned in the next decade we're going to be dealing with a pandemic of people in their early 50s to 60s who are now using walkers, canes, and or crutches to get around because they've lost so much skeletal muscle they can't walk on their own. And that's a very real statement. The other issue that comes up is if they're just using that as their means to weight loss, well, A, you haven't learned anything. So the minute you come off of these meds, if you do, you're going to put all that weight back on again. You need to change your life. And that comes with your personal, I know it sounds hokey, but this is my honest, your personal relationship with food, right? Am I eating because I need to eat, because I'm hungry, because I'm depressed, because I'm tired, because I'm bored? And all of those things have different responses in individual lives. And then am I exercising? Am I doing the right thing for myself, or am I just sitting around doing nothing?
That's well said. So far, the three options, right? Is it a death? Is it blood work? Or is it ChamberCast and the information you got today from our fantastic guests, right? Because sometimes they're very simple. What's your hook? What makes it work for you? And really, we've had podcasts also where we talk about mental health and therapy and things of that nature. There's a huge world of folks that are in that space. So if the brain is an incredibly complex feature of our humanity, and there's so much we don't understand. So if that's where some of the impact and that's where some of the obstacle resides, well, there are a tremendous amount of folks that can help you in that space. It might be sports psychology. It may be a mental health issue that's other than what we're talking about here. But if it's the relationship with food, and that may tie to other relationships. And so it's all part of, right, a holistic wellness program that you're getting here. So better to have it on something that's positive, that's informative, than something that could be based on results or a tragic event. So now, Jeannie, what? Sorry.
There's a line that you say, and people in here may have heard it before, but I want you to say that line that I think is so simple but yet so impactful. You know what I'm talking about?
I would love to
What
hear
do
this.
parents say they would what for their children?
Right, thank you.
Yeah.
So I do this a lot, and I think that understanding who the individual patient is very important. And we spend a lot of time talking with people in our office because there's value to that. And there's value in having a true relationship with the physician that you're trusting, or the mid-level practitioner, because I'm very lucky. I get to work with my wife, who's a physician's assistant. We have a nurse practitioner, and I'll introduce in a minute a physician who's just joined our practice that I'm very proud of. But this is what I say. I know as a parent, you would be willing to die for your children. No doubt about it. And every parent that I interview, they all just start shaking their heads. There's not even a question. If you know that you're willing to die for your children, why wouldn't you live for your children? Right? And that's a very powerful and true statement. And parents know your children learn as much from you by watching what you do than by what you say. And there's no time where that ever changes. You may have adult children. Well, guess what? They're still learning how to be adults by watching what you're doing. And if you've given up and you're not taking care of yourself, they're going to do the same thing when they get to your age, right? One of the most impactful things I've done, and my wife and I are blessed with 4 children. I bring my kids into the gym with me. So when I'm working out, they're seeing me do something, and it's very amusing. My 9-year-old will pick up a 5-pound pair of dumbbells, and all of a sudden he's doing something, right? Because there's an impact there. They're learning by watching you as an adult and how you're taking care of yourself. So live for your family.
Thank you
I
for
love
that.
that. Thank you. And you're going to introduce Dr. Capola,
So,
right?
allow me to quickly introduce Dr. John Capola, who has joined Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey.
Thank you for being here.
He is the former chief of cardiology at St. Vincent's Catholic Medical Center in Manhattan, had a very busy private practice in Midtown, was working out of NYU and the Manhattan VA. For over the last several years, he's been working as a principal educator for the cardiology fellowship at Jersey Shore University Hospital, and has decided to come hang out with us at Advanced Heart.
Welcome.
Thank you. And you're a longtime Homedale resident, correct? How long have you lived in Homedale?
My wife made me move out here almost 40 years ago.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. So, you were going to say something, Elizabeth, right?
I was going to make a comment that
Yes, please do, and then we'll go around.
I do. I have parents who bring their children to me because they're concerned about their health, and I always say the conversation starts with you. Yes, we can. I want to talk to your child, and let's talk about eating healthy, and let's talk about my plate, and let's talk about. But the conversation starts with the choices that you're making in front of your child. And if you're not willing to put the work in, then how can you ask them to put the work in? How can you ask them to make the changes? And then a funny story, you said your son was in the gym with you. My daughter this morning came downstairs while I'm getting ready. She's like, and she's 8, I'm gonna do a quick ab workout. I said, you're gonna do a quick ab workout? She's in her pajamas, she puts a video on the TV from YouTube, and she's doing an ab workout. And I'm like, good power to you. If mommy had 5 minutes, I would be doing the ab workout with you. So if your kids see you doing it, they're gonna want to do it. We're our role model, we're the role models.
Yeah, I like what you said about moms, because we preached when moms get healthy, the whole family gets healthy. They control the food, they shop for the food, they cook the food, and they have you eat it. So when moms get healthy, the whole family gets healthy.
Call it order taker, order maker. Never.
And get everybody in the kitchen to help.
But the
Thank you
dishes.
for that. So we'll open up for some questions. Then I want to get closing comments and how folks can reach you, website, your businesses, your practices. We want to make sure folks can reach out to you as well. Gary.
Thank you all for being here. Very inspiring, always. A question for Mike Duffy, who knows I'm a fan of his for many years. Can you talk about water consumption, and can you talk about what we need to do when we go into the supermarket, the good and bad places to be?
It's a good question, Gary. Hopefully you're following the advice. So in the supermarket, and the nutritionists will agree with me, you want to shop the perimeter. That's where the healthiest foods are, number one. And then as far as water intake, we preach at least half your body weight in ounces per day. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you need about 50 ounces. If you weigh 200 pounds, you need about 100 ounces. So that 8-ounce glasses a day that you hear isn't the way to go, because everybody weighs a different amount of weight. Most of that should be fluids, spring water, hopefully in a glass bottle, less leaching the plastics into your system, and then any other fluids that would add up to 50 ounces. Most of it, half your body weight in ounces a day. Most of it come from spring water. You're welcome.
So I have a comment. I was here, I never miss a ChamberCast if I can, because I get so much valuable information, as well as meeting so many interesting people that we can all work together. But about a year ago, I have to thank Jeannie and Terrence. They brought in Dr. Farrugia as an expert speaker. And I'm listening to him, and I'm listening to him, and I'll share with you that I'm a diabetic over 40 years, and I needed a cardiologist. So I was very impressed, because I like his style. He's meaningful. He talks with you, not at you. Supportive. I caught that right away. I read him in 30 seconds. I knew this was going to be my cardiologist. So I go home and life gets in the way, but I'm also an avid reader of Tap Into Homedale. And Dr. Pete is smart enough to advertise daily, I think, in Tap Into.
Brilliant man.
And his handsome face just kept showing up like, what the hell are you waiting for? So I finally make the call and go into his office, and it was the best decision I ever met, and I have to thank him. I have a whole team of people that help me with my diabetes that I see every 3 months faithfully, because they keep me motivated and challenged. And there were a few things he told me I can't even repeat here, and that's why I stay with him, because he's funny as hell too. But again, he found out my needs and he talked with me and learned about me and encouraged me, even with the smallest little grateful things that were happening in my life. He encouraged me, and not only him, his whole staff is amazing. So it's the full package you get there. But in a year's time, I'm a much healthier version than I was last year with losing 20 pounds, and it was a struggle and still is, but he's one of the best physicians I've ever met. So thank you, Dr.
That's
Pete.
beyond kind.
Oh, that's a beautiful testimony. Thank you.
I appreciate that. You know, I think it's very important to recognize that when I talk to people, I actually very rarely talk about weight loss. I don't. I approach it as we are on a journey together, and our goal is a healthy, long life. The side effects of that pursuit are weight loss, are coming off of medications, our blood pressure control, cholesterol control, diabetic control. The goal is never changing. It's a pursuit of a healthy lifestyle. The side effects are what everybody can be very happy with: more energy, I like to look at myself naked in the mirror, whatever makes you happy, right? And that's got to be the driving force, and that's very individualized. So it's understanding what makes sense for the individual and saying, this is what's driving you. Because I don't do any, as much as I appreciate the kind words, I don't do anything. I spend time with you in an office for 15 minutes, a half an hour. The hard work is put in by the individual. That's where winning happens, right? It's when you just use me as an advisor, or anybody on this panel for that matter, right? And then you put the work in yourself.
Thank you. Well said.
How effective is it to use like calorie counting apps versus just like kind of watching what you eat overall?
The calorie counting apps, and maybe talk about AI a little bit and how that's weaving its way in and everything.
So there's a danger in just counting calories, because years ago, when I was 15, I went to a physician for weight loss, and he handed me a 1,200 calorie diet for an adult woman. What's wrong with that picture?
Everything.
Everything.
Comatose patients are on 1,200 calorie diets, PS. So if you are in the hospital and you are in a bed and you are not moving, you are on a 1,200 calorie diet. I think everybody here is moving.
So the important thing is to know how much protein, fat, carbs that your body needs, and for growing, like for me it was 15, I'm still growing, I need calcium, vitamin D, and you still need that. So counting calories is a tool, not the end goal. And it's really can be dangerous for some, so I like to look at foods, what foods are on your plate, and food groups, or if you however you want to. Everyone's an individual, has their, but sometimes calories can be dangerous.
Yeah, and I think we get bogged down in calories too, right? So it's about a headspace that we're in, right? And honestly, how long do you think you can maintain doing the calorie counting? We go back to the bad word, right?
Yeah,
we're back in the diet world. So that's my problem with calorie counting apps, is that it really is diet behavior.
Yeah. And it doesn't know if you're in the working out. It doesn't know what your kind of exercise you're doing.
There are apps that will give you the macro profile, though. So again, there's a balance, and then it goes back to your why. Why are you using this calorie app?
It's not all
conversation.
Are you talking about weight loss or just general health?
I go to the gym personally, and I'm trying to like gain muscle, so I'm trying to figure out like what's the correct ratio, like how many calories I should be eating to gain more muscle and like that sort of stuff.
So if you want to count anything, if you're looking to put a muscle tissue on, just use a protein counter. Right. Make sure you get enough grams of protein to put muscle on. And least, and when it goes to calories, it's not all about calories. It's about what those calories consist of. What kind of foods are you eating, and also what time. Dr. Pete said the other day, weight loss is also when you eat. So they've done studies over and over. A 2,000 calorie dinner, they've given one group. 2,000 calorie breakfast, they give another group. And they go for 90 days, and the group that eats a 2,000 calorie dinner always gains weight. And the group that eats a 2,000 calorie breakfast always loses weight. So it's not calories. It's what they consist of and when you're having them.
And be sure to spread your protein out throughout the day, because your body will take what it needs and the rest will get stored in other for fat or energy. So so if you spread out, you might need whatever grams. Don't eat it all in one meal. Spread it out throughout the day.
Your body has a mechanism called protein synthesis, and about every 2.5 to 3 hours, it's searching for the essential 8 amino acids. So if you can take some protein in about every 3 hours, as long as they're complete proteins, like chicken, fish, turkey, red meat, seafood, eggs, things like that, they all have complete proteins in them. So by furnishing your body with that about every 3 hours, or maybe a little more, you're going to make sure that that growth, that protein synthesis, production of muscle tissue is going to keep taking place.
Thank you.
One more question. So, should you be eating like 1 gram of protein per like pound like you weigh?
Well, there's so many different formulas, but I usually tell my clients 1 gram of protein per pound of lean mass, per pound of muscle tissue. So if you weigh 150 pounds and you have 120 pounds of lean mass or muscle tissue, I want you to take in at least 120 grams, not your body's weight. Unless you're a football player and you want to put on 50 pounds. That's a different story. Yeah.
The
But for
range
yourself,
we use, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's all yours.
The range we use is per kilogram, so you have to do the conversion from kilograms to pounds. So it's usually, it could be 0.8 to 1 gram. It could be one, depending on your age. And that's where seeing a professional to help calculate or guide you with that calculation.
And it's also important to look at the blood work and see what's going on in your body as well, because certain things that could be elevated, we don't want to recommend too much protein, because again, if you're not converting it to muscle, it will turn to fat.
100%, yeah. And different people need different amounts of protein. I might need, I might have 150 pounds of muscle on me, and 150 grams might be too much for me. And it might not be enough, so you have to kind of start at that number and work from there. Because everybody's different.
1,000%. And it really depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? There's different protein intakes that you would pursue based on if you're trying to build muscle, if you're trying to cut but maintain the muscle that you have on board. And timing is a very important thing, right? So you want to make sure you're working out, you're getting a protein intake after your workout to make sure you have your essential aminos in there to be able to build whatever muscle it is that you're trying to pursue. Your goals should always be, right, especially someone as young as you want to make sure you're hitting your biggest muscle groups, because that's what's triggering the most growth hormone and testosterone production in your body, which is going to lead to improved long-term outcomes.
Yeah, also age. The younger you are, the more protein you absorb from your food. As you get older, like myself, I'm 64 years old, so I have a digestive system of a 64-year-old, which is a lot slower than yours. So I need even more protein at my age than you do at your age.
So I have a question. This is not really for me. It's for like my friends and people I know. This is about nicotine, and like I know people that like have an addiction with it and do it daily, and I've seen friends that try to quit, but like they just can't. They always go back to it. So do you know like any ways that can get rid of the addiction?
So it becomes a resolution of the individual, right? I'm bad in that. When people come speak with me, I'm a cold turkey guy. I've been doing this for a long time, longer than you've been alive, and I know the data, and the data is very straightforward. If you don't go cold turkey, the probability of you returning to abuse is very high. So it becomes a matter of your will against that of the addiction. And like any other addiction, the only way to face it is head on.
Yeah, and it goes back to what's motivating you for the change, right? If your motivation isn't strong enough, you're not going to change. So it has to come internally. It has to be your decision to make. And there's lots of tools out there, but unless you're ready, like you want and you're ready for that change and you want to make it, not your friends, not your mom, not your doctor, but you, it's not going to happen, sadly.
And also just try to exchange that habit for a good habit. Every time you want a cigarette, do 10 push-ups. Every time you want nicotine, have an apple. Just try to replace that bad habit with a good habit.
And there needs to be more, I think, education in the schools about popcorn lung, because their kids are addicted to the vaping.
Yeah.
And popcorn lung,
Permanent.
Yep.
So I know that a lot of people around my age spend a lot of time on, their phones, the TVs, the social media, whatever it is. what are ways to motivate us to get out and be active and make healthy choices and eat good foods?
I mean, that's a great question.
You tell us.
And again, you're asking people who are a couple generations older than you how to speak to your generation. I have no idea. And then the issue is, again, this is very individualized, right? But it starts with your parents. It starts with how you were raised. If you were raised with, shut up, here's your iPad, right? Then that's going to be a very normalized part of your life, right? I am a 1980s style father living in 2025. So I could tell you, it's laughable the number of times I come home from work and have yelled at my kids to get outside. Go cause trouble, go do something. No phones, no electronics, no video games, no TV. Get outside, right? And that has an impact, but is that the norm? And the answer is no.
This is a suggestion, is as pigtailing off of Mike's, change that habit for something good. Like, how about getting in the kitchen, helping with some of the food prep and creating a healthy meal, it's an actionable piece. You're moving, you have to think, chopping or whatever. You're away from your phone and you're creating something beautiful at the end, a meal for yourself, the rest of your family. So
Or
it's doing something different.
Yeah, and or right, we do create a beautiful picture, so now we can put it on Instagram, right? So we're doing something that is a full circle moment, or even because we put everything up on social media, and that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But if we're trying to, this generation that is very absorbed with social media and which kind of putting ourselves out there, well, then do things to put yourself out there, right? Do things that increase. But I agree. I'm born in the wrong generation. My kids, I'm like, get outside. We're done.
Last thing, just put time aside for social media. Like, I'm busy all day long, and I get texts, and emails, and calls, and meeting with marketing managers and everything. I'm just like, every day, 12 to 1, it's my social media hour. I answer all my text, emails, take care of my marketing, and then move on from there. Try to condense it to just one period of time instead of just scrolling all day long. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah, and just a brief opinion. The adults broke it. You're going to fix it. That's reality. So this technology, there are wonderful things about the technology, but the doom scrolling and the time suck, and just you look up and the lack of eye contact and the dysfunctional communications. The adults broke it because they didn't quite understand the dopamine drip of these devices and how it just become baked into the culture and baked into the lifestyle. So really, you're going to fix it. So sometimes you're looking, how do we fix this? How do we look at that? And you're like, it's on me? So really, it was busted from a generation above you and all the technology. You're going to fix it. But if I gave an idea or a thought, there's this thought that people can multitask. The basic data shows, from what I've read and learned, is that you can't. You can do a number of things at the same time, not quite as well as you would if you were just focused on one thing. So what might be a simple idea? You're chatting with one of your friends or what have you, they're scrolling, just, hey, I'll wait till you're done. I've been in meetings with elected officials in the past over there, and I'm having a meeting about a real serious issue. For example, a massive road project that I'm happy is done, so we have no traffic in front of the high schools. Everybody happy now? You're welcome. It wasn't easy to do. I'm glad that that's done. But the elected official I was talking to was extremely busy. I said, you know what? You seem to be really busy with your phone. I think the meeting's over. You enjoy your phone. I'm going to get on with my day. I got a lot to do. It's nice to see you. Conversation over. So I applaud the question. It's extremely important because eye contact, human communication, those are going to be the employers of the future. Those will be the business owners. Those will be the women and the men who are running the show and hiring the folks that are buried in these devices. So it's just, food for thought. The human connection is so important. Dr. Farrugia?
I think you said it was in there. Replace the immediate dopamine surge with something that's going to give you a higher long-term outcome from that through exercise, right? Like some people love running. I hate it, but you get that runner's surge, right? So, and that's all about pushing your own internal biochemical pathways to make you feel amazing. And there's something so much more gratifying about putting a challenge in front of you, pushing through it, achieving your goals, and then looking around and saying, okay, this is what I want to do next. And that's really the only way to get away from this immediate pleasure right in your hand.
So thank you for that. It's awesome. One more question, then we're going to wrap up. Yes.
Going on what Mike said, at 91, I need a lot more protein. I'm also
I agree with you.
an active tennis player and coach at a high school, not home though, but another coach. So what's your opinion on tennis as being a lifetime sport, which is like what I preach to the kids. I coach the girls and boys tennis team.
So my opinion on tennis being a lifetime sport, I think it's great. I mean, I hope I look like you when I'm 91. It's kept you in great shape. And I was listening to you play the piano before, how wonderful that was. So you're remaining active, and that's one of the keys to longevity, is to be active. You know, challenge your body, challenge your mind, and you're doing both. So
90 is the new 50. That's right. Sorry, one more question. Thanks.
Hi, sorry, I arrived a little bit late, but I wanted
Welcome.
to introduce myself. My name is Sebastian Stolzenberger. My family moved here to about 4 years ago, and I have two things. One is I did want to ask what your recommendations would be. So I'm a very healthy cook at home, but I have a child who refuses to really abide by that. He thinks he's being healthy, and he's making all his own choices, and no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to really be having an impact. So my question is, are there diets or apps or something that's external that you think would have a really great impact that I could kind of use as a platform to continue teaching a child how to eat healthy?
How old is he?
He's 14, which
So-
I know is, you know,
Yeah.
a hard age.
I run into that all the time. You know, the parents just telling their children, you have to have more vegetables, and the child's like, I don't like vegetables, or, you know, things like that. But just because you feel something's healthy that you're cooking for you, it might be different from your son. And we know, we've seen families, our nutritional counseling that we do is based on blood typing. And we know that certain blood types do wonderful as vegetarians, and a lot of other ones do wonderful doing the exact opposite. So, you know, your son's tastes and needs, nutritional needs, can be much different, even totally opposite than yours. So find out the foods he likes and try to give him those types of foods. You know, proteins, vegetables, carbohydrates, but his proportions might be different than yours.
And I think I use the statement always, if it doesn't, even though it might not make sense for you, it doesn't mean it doesn't make sense for him. So I still would I would still push him to pick a protein, pick a fruit, or a vegetable, pick a whole grain. But it might not be what you would make for yourself, but that's okay, because he needs to kind of figure out his own space when it comes to nutrition. You know, we have a...
Well, I agree. As long as the main components, find out what he likes, and then have him plan. If he's, I don't know how involved he is, but if he goes shopping with you, pick a protein, and explore different recipes. That's something that what flavors does he like, and something that the whole family may enjoy as well. If he gets involved in the kitchen with you, and you get involved, you're learning from each other. He's an individual. We're all individuals. He's coming into his own. He's expressing his tastes and preferences. As long as it's not do no harm. It is not. He's thriving. So explore that aspect of his taste and food preferences.
So I agree with everything that was just said, as long as he is not telling you all I want is pizza and chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's a different issue. And then it becomes a matter of educating him on what healthful eating is. Now you are at the age, I hate to say this, you're at the beginning of the struggle. And the struggle is real. Okay, I have 4 kids. My oldest is about to turn 18, and then I have an about to turn 15-year-old. They're becoming individuals. They want to push forward the idea that they know better than you. It's normal. This is a part of being a teenager, a part of becoming independent. So there's a lot of times where you can talk to them till you are blue in the face. They're not going to hear a thing that you say because you're a mom. Translation, you're wrong no matter what, right? So then it becomes a matter of giving them an external source to refer to be able to learn from, that is an authority, but is not their, for lack of a better way of saying
It's
it.
not me.
It's not you, right? It's not their authority figure. It's someone who's knowledgeable in this subject matter, right?
Thank you.
I know you're going to wrap up. I just want to say thank you very much to the Walls for hosting such a wonderful event. I think it's very
it's a
impactful
pleasure.
in the community. The last thing I just want to add is I am part of the Parent Association for 2 of the schools here in Homedale. Jeannie is kind enough to share some of the fundraising events that we are going to be hosting in the coming months. They'll be up on the website tomorrow. They are community-wide events that we would love to extend to everybody. They support our students, they support our schools, and they support our families. So if you could please take a look tomorrow. There's going to be one Halloween event at Brookdale Community College. It is an event for everybody, especially if you love haunted theater. There's one for the kids and one for the adults. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so
for
much,
being
folks.
a community
Yeah,
maker,
yeah.
Sebastian. We appreciate it.
So thank you. We have a round of applause for our guest today. I'd like to, if you have some, like, what next big thing is for you, or how folks can reach you, your practice and your work. So because from this and from the folks that are watching online on YouTube or Facebook, what I call the ripples in the pond, as thousands of folks watch the podcast. We have a wonderful group here. Thank you for taking out your time. Quick policy note. I see James from FC Monmouth had left, but we're packaging up a sports-related program for next month. FIFA is playing. They're in 2026. They're in New York and New Jersey. It's going to be huge. And so we're going to be diving right into soccer, the World Cup, everything that's going on. So we're going to be going hard into sports. And James, I'll send you a clip of this video. I was giving you a shout out. James works so hard over at FC Monmouth, and his family actually, World Construction. They built a tremendous amount of recreation and playground spaces throughout the New Jerseys. They're over in Middletown. His father has a fantastic construction company over there. Just a shout out to James and for his participation. So if you can just make sure folks know how to reach you, and then we're going to wrap it up at Therese, and then we're going to close it out and take a nice group picture if we can. Dr. Farrugia.
I was going to let the ladies go
All
first.
right, the ladies first. No, you're quite right. Elizabeth, please.
Such a gentleman.
I'm Elizabeth Holzer. I practice out of Healthy Body Nutrition, which is located on 717 North Beer Street. I accept all insurances, and I'm seeing new clients.
Awesome.
Barbara Barron, and I am the Family Meals dietitian. You can find me on Instagram, barbara.barron. I also have a free Facebook group, Better Meals with Barbara, and I do have a link, a QR code that we can put in the show notes for a free recipe pack for the slow cooker. So you can dump all your chopped vegetables and whatever in there and beans and have the aromas fill your house. So I'm available through, and I have a website.
Thank you, Barbara.
Will that QR code be on your Facebook site? I think that's a good place to put it.
I could put it there,
Okay,
yes.
and the Facebook site again is?
Better Meals with Barbara.
Better Meals with
Just have to
Barbara.
ask to join. Yes,
Okay.
3 simple questions, and
And then they
they're
get
in.
a free recipe download, right?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Mike.
So my name is Mike Duffy. I own Mike Duffy's Personal Training. We have 2 locations, one in Ocean Township on Route 35, where tomorrow we'll be celebrating our 28th year anniversary in
Woo,
business.
Congratulations.
We also have another location in Fairhaven on River Road. We've been there. We've been in the Little Silver Fairhaven area for 17 and a half years. We just specialize in one-on-one personal training, and we're also holistic health counselors. So make sure you're eating well and staying healthy. And last, I'll give you a plug for my winter baseball clinic, Mike Duffy's Winter Baseball Clinic.
Awesome. That's great.
Celebrating our 17th year. It's a 13-week program for children 7 to 13. We meet 2 hours every Sunday morning at a 40,000 square foot indoor turf field.
That's awesome. Do you have a website, or how do
Yeah,
they
you can reach me at MikeDuffy'sPT.com. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And that baseball program is excellent. My son was there for several winters. Thank you. So, my name is Dr. Peter Farrugia. I am a CEO and physician at Advanced Heart and Vascular of Central Jersey and Colts Neck. We have a Facebook page, Advanced Heart and Vascular Central Jersey. Our website is www.ahvcj.com. Please come in before you have a problem. Let's be preventative. We want to work with you and walk with you as long as you will let us be in your life. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And for the information on peripheral artery disease, stay ahead of it, folks. Thank you very much. Therese.
I just want to thank all of you. Phenomenal. We went way over time, and it was well worth it. I'm glad you had the time to stick around. And thank you for everyone else who stuck around. It was well worth sticking around for. So much education, so much to learn. And I know I have to change a lot of habits. I like the moderation. A little bit at a time gets you there. I, too, am a fan of Dr. Pete's. He's amazing. His wife, Erin, is amazing. Yes, yes, yes. Just say, okay. We love you. His demeanor and the way he talks to people, he spends time with you. He takes time with you, and he really cares. So, and I know each of you, it's the same thing, even though I don't know you yet. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And again, I can't thank the Walls enough for putting on programs like this every
No,
month.
it's a pleasure. I appreciate everyone's support for the program. The high school girls, thank you so much for being here today. You're the next generation. We applaud you. Mr. Cohen, thank you so much. 100 interns. It's over 100. It's really incredible. And that's part of the growth and development. Part of the folks I find have these podcasts, I believe, have saved lives by getting folks into paths and seeing the people that they should see and making moderate changes, and learning and a whole panoply of different benefits. So I want to thank all of you for being here. Truly appreciate it. Honored to be your humble host, and it's
Thank
great.
you.
So go ahead, Barbara.
Well, thank you for being a great moderator.
No, it's a pleasure. It's a lot of fun. So here's the Monmouth Regional Chamber of Commerce. Please join. It's a fantastic organization. And for the members that are watching, the members that couldn't make it, watch it online, share it with your friends and colleagues. Hope the information here was beneficial to you and your family. And Jeannie, you're the best. Thank you for everything that you do to set these up. Order maker.
Well done.
Order taker.
Well done.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Let's have just a quick photo and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, folks. See you next month.